Hello and welcome. Today we're going to start doing the coilovers. There's a pretty extensive video already from Speed Academy because they have a G-Body 930 Turbo doing this coilover conversion. So we're not going to do like every step or anything. As you can see, this kit has dominated my garage. It has not been warm enough until maybe today to wash the kit. So I might take it out and wash it here in a bit. So I can put it away until we're ready to work on it. But today we've got to get this lifted up and we're going to start by doing the rear coilovers. They're the KW Clubsport, I believe is what they call them. It's a 911 air-cooled specific coilover for removing the torsion bar. So let's jump in. Okay, so something kind of difficult on these is that they don't really have jack points. So what you need to do when you need the jack points on them is typically you would mount, or you would do it on like the bottom of the engine casing. But on this one, there's no engine. So the other spot you would do typically would be like the mounts right here. People put them on the mounts for, not right there, sorry, right there. The mounts for the torsion bar, but we're pulling the torsion bar. So I took this piece of steel, we ran it underneath, and we're gonna jack it up and put it on that, on jack stands. Should work, it'll work. All right, just like that, we have got the engine out, obviously. We've got the wheels off. Now we're gonna start working on this and the struts. I've got to see the best order to do these. I should probably go get the box now and see what the instructions look like. So we're moving. So it's been actually a couple of years since I worked this all out with, ignore my trash, KW. So KW, thank you so much sponsoring the build. They make this very specific. In fact, this one is not even in like branded packaging. I did KW coils on the Supra also, but these ones just come in this box, and I believe it's because when they did it, they actually made these in Germany and sent them to me. So you can see international shipping. But it's been a couple of years. Thought we'd be ready for them a little bit earlier. What happened was that I didn't want to, and here they are, the KW Clubsport Porsche 911. This is a specific project that they worked on for these. And we'll open them up. I'll show you what they are. Look, my name is even on the box. It's kind of cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to open them up. Let's look at what's there, talk about why they're different and why they had to make this coilover for this car. So let's dive into that. Okay, so if you've bought KW before, this is probably something you're familiar with. Let me see if I can get it out. This is your little toolbox and instructions. I believe they might just be technical documents, but your spanner wrenches, everything else that's there. This is actually pretty nice. It's pretty sweet. It's like neochrome. So we've got those. I'm pretty sure we don't have to worry about that yet. Ooh, a bunch of stickers because I'm supposed to be putting lots of stickers on here. So don't worry, KW. I will find homes for these stickers on the car. And it looks like just a specific instruction manual, yes, for the Porsche. So let's go in and we'll talk about some of the things that make this different than just your standard kit. And just a reminder, these are the Clubsport 911 edition. This is made by kind of the classic KW group. So one thing that was cool is I haven't taken wheels and tires off that small for so long. Those weigh like half as much as those. Maybe not half, maybe half. It's a lot smaller though. That's like a 17 by 8, I think. I think those wheels are 17 by 8 max, maybe smaller actually. Let's say 8, but yeah, wasn't too bad to do that. Let's dive in here. All right, so we removed this and we have the custom made coilovers. These are the rears, obviously. This is made to completely remove the need for any kind of torsion bar. The one thing that we did have to do is I did go through Elephant Racing and we bought these supports that you weld in. So when we pulled the motor, we welded those in. I wanted them welded in and painted. with the car. So we did that a little bit ago, but now what we're gonna do is get this going on the back. And these are gonna look a lot nicer than those. Yeah. Something that makes these pretty cool is that they have these spindles cast from the factory, so that's what makes these really unique. In the past, you really couldn't convert to a coilover on these cars without going through a lot of hoops. So this is a really cool piece. The other thing is it makes it so I can adjust the ride height pretty easily. So you probably already know that this being an RWB build, it's going to be very low. We're not going to have a lot of clearance. We need to have stability. This is really the best way to make the car as stable and adjustable as possible. We're gonna have to play with ride height. And once we get a motor in here, we're gonna have to play with ride height again anyway, but this gets it in place. The other thing is that the tops of these, when we're doing them, are going to be back here behind the engine. So you've got these bolts to do, and that's not the easiest thing to get to when you have an engine in here. So unless we go electric. No, we're not going electric. Ugh. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and just pull these little bolts off, and we will pull off the rear, these rear shocks. So once those come off, then we'll worry about all the torsion bar stuff. So the rears, not too bad. You should have seen all the dust that came off. Maybe I'll be able to get it on the other side. But basically just these two bolts, and we should have this off. All right, so now with that bolt out, we can just pull this dirty old thing out as well. It's in pretty good shape for 40 years old. Not bad. So now we've got a lot of other stuff to do, so let's do that. So this is the result. This is the only way to get this done, with a giant breaker bar. But it's gonna work. We're gonna get that off. Okay, so now we've got to take off, I believe, these two bolts and then this cover so we can get access to the torsion bar. Remove this arm, pull the bar out, put it back together, and put the struts back. So we're doing okay. Okay, so now we're going to remove this, these bolts, pull this off, pull the torsion bar, and I think we're in pretty good shape. All right, so one thing that's kind of a pain is there's actually a nut back behind this caliper. On other videos I've seen in other versions of these G-bodies, this is behind and out of the way, but on this one it's up front. And so you can see right here, we've got these bolts that I had to get an open-ended wrench on, and it's really hard because you got to push this bolt through too to get the arm off. So if you're doing this, you have two bolts here, and then these 4 bolts there. Once those are all off, this whole thing should pull. So let's see. Okay, so we're gonna pull this off now with those bolts out. But what I don't know is how the rest of this is gonna move. So we're gonna have to play with it just a little bit. You are probably wondering how to get this off because I had a hell of a time doing it. Here's what you wanna do. I still have to open the door so I can pull it off. I got lucky. It looks like the spline actually did not connect to this, so that's good. That was really, really hard to get off. I ended up using this and hammering just the back side of it and letting it work its way out. I don't know what those videos were on YouTube I saw 0 videos where it was this hard to pull that out. So if you're running into that same problem of getting this off, hammer. All right, so we got the cover off. You can see that this pulls through. It looks disgusting, so I'm gonna have to grab something to pull it out with. I think that it's just splines on either end, so you can just pop it out. All right, so we are at, I guess, like the halfway point on the rears. I'm gonna put a channel lock on the actual torsion bar now and try and hammer it out, just because they're not coming out easy. We have both covers off though now, so it shouldn't be too bad. Every video you see people, the cover comes out with the torsion bar. My torsion bar stayed. So hopefully they're not like seized up in there. Nothing a hammer in this can't fix though, so let's go. Okay, so the correct way to do this would just be with like a slide hammer, which I don't have. We're not keeping these, so I'm not worried about destroying them. I don't know if this even will destroy them, but we're not keeping them. So I'm gonna do this, basically just hammer on that. So hopefully it works. All right, so now we've got everything in place and we are just gonna bolt it all back up and we will install the strut. So not too bad so far, we're alive. All right, so we've got everything bolted back into place. Now it's time to figure out which of these two struts is for this side and go from there. Okay, so everything I can see, these are the exact same except for this one has a 2, that has a 1. The instructions don't say that there's anything side to side, only that obviously the larger side of the bushing goes into the brake assembly, or control arm, I guess. Instructions say that you should have 10 millimeters more or less once this is here. So what we're using is my trusty battery-free thing. So we're just using this to measure. Hopefully we are there. That's 10 right there. I just have to get the measurement on the bolt, but I think we're pretty dang close. Get it. I just have to tighten this down now, and then we'll move on to the other side. But this side is all set, and you can see my car is guards red. So there you go. All right, so just like that, these are secured. The passenger side coilover is done. As you can see, we did okay. And we are gonna probably not film putting on the driver's side. I'm just gonna finish and then we'll work on the front. So I had a visitor, Brent is leaving. I got the wheels on and I think that we're all set now, that we can go ahead and put her back on the ground, which is good because I didn't really want to leave her there. I did not adjust ride height because the front's not done yet, so I may do that later, but we also don't have an engine in, so it doesn't really matter yet. So anyway, coilovers are on. Let's put the car down. We are on the ground. It looks like we've got pretty good ride height considering no engine or anything. Pretty happy with these. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the fronts now, but there you have it. There are the rears. All right, have my clothes changed? Yes. Lack of continuity? No, because I'm going to admit the rears took forever. We're on the fronts. We've got the front wheels off. We're going to knock off these dust covers, and you do that just by hammering against the base of that, I believe. That's what it looks like. But from there, the front's actually a little more complicated. We do have to tear basically everything off the front. So we're going to tear off the whole front, get the front rods off, and then we're going to put everything else back on. So again, we're not a step-by-step channel, but the top of the coil sits right here. We pulled that out, and now we just have to do this last pin here. And once that pin is out, we can put the coilovers in. So we're making progress, finally. So we've done it again. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad, Porsche enthusiasts. No, what happened was I got on the tie rod end with a Pickle Fork and it destroyed the bushing. And so I thought, you know, if I'm gonna have to replace this bushing or this tie rod end anyway, why continue to try this? So you know what, I just cut it out. So we cut that out. I've got a new one coming, which kind of sucks, but it's fine. You can see it is still here inside of there. Yeah, I think that will be okay. Basically the new one's gonna come. The only thing that's left though that I can't do right this second is I've got to pull these splines off of that. So the spline's got like a cap. It's not a cap, it's more like a bushing. And that's going to get pressed off and pressed onto the new one. So other than that though, I'm going to get everything else installed. Right now though, I just pulled off the underbody tray and we're trying to get out that front torsion bar. Once we get the front torsion bar out, we can start putting stuff back on. So it's only been like a month. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so right now what we're doing is removing that front torsion bar, pulled the cap off. I used the Pickle Fork just to grab it because the other ones wouldn't come out. So I'm gonna get the Pickle Fork off of this. We'll pull it all out and put it together. All right, so we are just wiggling out the torsion bar, if I can get it out. And then we are gonna put it all back together. But my pickle fork's still kind of stuck, so I'm gonna have to get that off in a minute. So as you can see, I've got that torsion bar out. Something that's really annoying though on this is nobody really explains. Once you have it out, that cap doesn't like sit back in there. Because of the way that it wedges in, it needs to grab onto the torsion bar, and then the cap adjustment or the torsion adjustment screw thing goes up into it. That torsion adjustment screw doesn't stay straight. You can't like just put it in. That cap doesn't stay in place without a torsion bar. So I'm gonna look at ways to cover it because I don't wanna have that exposed. But for the record, nobody explained what to do once you're pulling that out. All right, so on the standard strut, this is the piece that comes out. My belief in looking at this is that that has been replaced by this. Now, the problem with this that I don't understand, because this has adjustable camber on it, is this, I believe, size-wise and everything, should be underneath the perch, right? Why would you have your camber adjustment under the perch and not over? So I kind of want to see if, you know, I guess even from above though, you don't have access to the camber adjustment. So I believe that this is going to have to go right in there, but then you still don't really have any access. So I guess we'll see. All right, so the next step is seating the ball joint. These are the decambered rennline, whatever that company is called. These are theirs. So when you put it in, there's a notch for the pin to go through. That pin obviously can only go through one way, so you've got to make sure that that goes in correctly so that that will grab. It's a really weird pin, but anyway, so there's that. And these are cool because they have the adjustment at the bottom, so you don't have to like pull them apart and get the stuff together on them from the top. So anyway, decambered ball joint. Basically, I'm going to put this in and then I'll set everything in place. This is that pin. So this is what goes through the ball joint. You can see it's shaped to go into that groove we were just looking at. So I'm going to push these in and then we should be on to installing these. So as you can see, we're actually having clearance issues. I don't think that these bad boys are going to fit in the tunnel without adjustment. It's not worth it to me. I'm not going to smash it. So I might have a set of hybrid air for sale here soon. I'll keep messing with it though for a minute. So it's been a number of hours and it's another day and I've done some investigating and these don't fit my car. So I guess the guys at Hybrid Air at some point had told me it's going to require a bunch of body modification. I don't remember that, but it was 3 years ago. So I'm just going to take these off and we're just going to go straight to the coilovers, get them put in, and my life will be back to normal, I hope. All right, so just like that, we've got them put back together. The bags are off. These are ready to put in, except for I do need to put, there is a sleeve that comes on here that I've got to press on. So I might just set these in place, but I still need to do that probably before I mount them. So maybe we'll wait. We're going to wait. We'll wait. All right, so we finally got this spacer off of the other spindle. The trick was fire. We got that off. But we've got to press it onto here. I don't really have a press, so we are going to figure out the best way without ruining that thing to get it on there. Okay, so was this the right thing to use? Maybe not. Did I get it on there pretty good? Yes, that is pressed on fully. There is no gap. We're in a good spot. Let's put these back on the car. It's been a while. Okay, so these are in now. It's these 3 bolts, but look at your camber adjustment. You can like kind of get to these, but not really. So you have to kind of like unbolt the whole top to do that. And I'm wishing I'd have made this all black now underneath this goo. So we'll see. I had to make some adjustments, but I think we're good. So we are replacing the outer tie rods. This has got the turbo tie rods in it, so it's a 930 setup. Big difference is that this has a female end. The standard ones are a male end that goes in. So yep, this is fancy pants stuff, tie rod end, and it basically just is going to screw on here. It was easier to buy a new one than to get the other bolt off, so I'm having a lot of trouble with my bolts. Okay, so we're kind of getting to the end of this install. Basically, I'm going to put in the coilover now. It's going to come up from the bottom. We'll put 3 bolts in, put the ball joint in, and we should pretty much be there. So we're doing all right. I will probably just put those in, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So here we go. Okay, so this is on, and basically we are ready to put this pan back up, and I need to move the hub and stuff over, but this is pretty much done. Got the ball joint in, and yeah, I think we're ready. So there you have it. All right, it is day 782 since we started working on these coilovers. I have the grease here now, so really today, all that we really have to do is we've got to grease these up, put the hubs back on, bolt it all together, hook the brakes back up. Should be pretty easy. We'll see. I think it is. I just have to remember where stuff is. So let's go. So part of the delay is I've been waiting on this grease. I couldn't find it locally. Had to order it. So we have it now. This is supposed to be the good stuff for what we're doing. And yeah, it came all busted up, but it was sealed still. Pretty sealed, I think. So we'll go. So my understanding is just put a lot on here. So we're going to put a lot on here, and we're going to start jamming and slamming. And yeah, it's going to be greasy, gooey, messy. We're going to get it done. So I think that we're going to be all right. So there we go. Yum. I guess it's not really rocket science. So basically this goes back on. We're going to press in the bearing and put the dust cover back on, bolt it all up. Don't forget though that you do have that that one, you have one hex nut here that you have to get an Allen key on to tighten down. But other than that, yeah, basically we're just gonna put it together. All right, so we've got the bearing pressed in. It's got a little bit of like a kink in it. It doesn't look totally flat, as you can see. And I'm sure it'll start making noise as soon as we drive on it. So we'll see how it goes, but for now we'll get it put in. And now all that's left really is just to put the retainer nut on and the dust cover. So let's get that in. Okay, that wasn't that interesting. But it's on, I think, pretty well. We gotta put the dust cap cover back on, put the brakes on. I think that we're done with this side. It's been an epic adventure. Yeah, so that's where we're at. And now it's just a matter of tightening the bolts on the back of the calipers. We'll reconnect the lines, and we're done, baby. So that is it. That is how you do this, step by step. You're probably better at it than me, but I got it done. I didn't pay anybody, so we're done. All right, so we just have to tighten things up now, and I think we can put it back on the ground. I'm gonna wait to do the brakes till we have everything else done. Not gonna be driving right now anyway, so it doesn't matter, but I do wanna wait till we have power and a whole system here. So I don't even have a chair, so there's no way to even like do it. So I think we're done. It's been a minute. The garage is clean, the car is down. We are on the coilover conversion now. I'll need to do some adjustments, but I think now we're ready to kind of start the next project. So kind of exciting, kind of excited to get the Super Assault 2. But yeah, I've got to wait on Dave. Kind of been ghosting me. He's supposed to be putting some stuff back together. This is contract workers, I guess, for you. This is what people do, whatever they feel like. And this is why I've been doing most of it on my own. So Dave, and then the bumpers need to be, the whole kit needs to be polished still. But other than that, yeah, we're looking pretty good. I'm pretty stoked. So anyway, thanks for joining for the KW thing. If you guys need any tips on any piece of this really, or if anybody has any idea what to do with the covers for the front torsion bars, please reach out. Love to hear it. All right, well, thank you guys. Car is looking good. I'm getting excited.